Welcome back to Bet Haven, the safe place for safe plays. If you're new here, make sure you hit the link in the description of this video. Check out the bonus bets and deposit matches you can get across various sports books. You can also find our social links, Twitter, X, Instagram, TikTok, all those things. Make sure you follow those and like the video and subscribe to the channel. We are fresh off of a kind of a decent week, right?
Yeah, it was okay. It could have been a little bit better if...
Decent week from a pick standpoint. I think we went...
Yeah. If Burger would have been more in contention, I would have actually had probably a really good week. But Thor was...
Well, Burger bogeys down the stretch to miss the cut for you, which was just...
Yeah, Burger
really
finishing bogey, birdie, bogey to miss the cut by one. Yeah, that hurts. That's bad. That's really bad, actually, now that I think about
it. It's kind of hard because... We give out first round leaders, and when those don't hit, like the only thing you see is like, oh, I had a first round leader that didn't hit. But a lot of the times, and especially in recent weeks, we've picked these guys that are just like right there. Obviously, the Dunlap situation happened to you. Last week, I had Eric Cole, who goes out and shoots 9 under and finishes third place for round one.
Yeah, we got 59.
59.
Wine them, dine them, 59 them, and
Hayden Springer.
It's a tough beat, man, to lose on a 59. Yeah, dude went bananas. And he even, like, it was one of those rounds where every single thing went right for him. He chips in late when it looked like all of his momentum was gone, and he chips in for eagle.
Yep.
So it was his day. I had Sungjae, who actually, I think he shot like 6 or 7, so he had a good day too.
You just can't, when somebody goes out and posts a 12 under, it's like, all right,
yeah,
good job.
This was honestly a little too much chaos for me. The birdies were flying. I don't mind guys making birdies, but it just felt a little too much for me this week. But
yeah, well, and it's like, you know, my favorite play last week was Seamus Power. He finishes maybe like T18, T17. I mean, opening round 5 or 6 under. Has several other rounds. I think he shot 4 under another round, 7 under the final round, I want to say. But he posted like a 1 under on either Friday or Saturday. And you post a 1 under on a tournament like that where these guys are just blowing it out of the water, it does nothing. Like you lose all of the possible ability to win.
It even felt like that if you shot like a 4 under. It was like,
yeah, you're just losing so many strokes to the field.
Once you shot anything like 4 or less, you were done. You had no chance of winning the golf tournament. So yeah, it was just, you had to get 6 to 10 birdies every single round to compete. Thor Bjornsson ended up finishing second.
Made a late charge. Didn't he shoot like 8
under?
Yeah,
he shot 8 under the final day. I had a big ticket on him because I believe in the guy I have for 2 weeks in a row now. Had him at 110 to 1 was what he went off at on, I believe it was FanDuel. Got a really good number on him anyways. I think he opened at like 60 or 70. Nobody bet him, obviously, because he had missed the cut. Or no, he had just not played that well the week before. And it comes up just a little bit short because Davis Thompson went nuts for the entire tournament. I mean, he just never let up and made everything he looked at, it seemed like, on Sunday.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't. I told you that Maverick McNeely just would not look good on a tractor, and I think he proved that to all of us.
I never saw Davis Thompson get on a tractor, by the way.
I feel like they cut out that part. Like he celebrated with his wife, got a lot of internet trolls from that. But the guy looks kind of scary. Like. He's a nice looking fella. Like he looks like he'd be super nice, but he also has like these eyes about him that just
he's got that kind of weird vibe to him a little bit. Like, I don't know. He
could be the nicest guy in the world.
He really could be a nice guy, but he does have that look about him like something's up here.
So yeah.
Like maybe he's just really awkward. Like maybe that's what it is. He's an awkward guy because he played golf literally every single day of his life.
Well, yeah, I mean, you
didn't have much human interaction.
It's crazy because now you have like, especially with all the big personalities, the Hattons, the Brysons, all these guys that left the PGA to go to live. Like you've kind of seen more of the awkward PGA players that have like no personality to them, and they golf, and that's literally it.
Yeah, and they probably haven't had a camera in front of their face too often either, at least on this type of stage.
Right.
And so when they finally do, it's a little bit awkward, and maybe they're a little weird about it. But he's a hell of a golfer, and he showed that this week. And I know a lot of people were out there, were betting him. So I'm sure there was plenty of people who won on him.
Oh yeah, but his number was like, it wasn't even anything fantastic. It was like 30-1. He opened. I think he ended up
getting bet down for sure.
Yeah, like 22-1 by the time tournament started. And it's like, okay, a bunch of people hit on a Davis Thompson ticket at 22-1. That like, what are you supposed to do with that?
Yeah, I didn't have them. I did have some of them on DraftKings, but my DraftKings got cut by Daniel Berger. So yeah, I didn't win much there. I had a Denny McCarthy top 10 I won like $70 on that.
Nice.
Betting that late. I bet that morning of Sunday at plus 175. Kind of thought that he was going to go out there and have a round, because round 3, he didn't do much of anything. He had his like whatever round where he shot 2 or 3 under. And I was like, well, probably going to bounce back. And he did it in a big way.
Yeah. Finished what, third?
He finished T7.
T7?
Even after shooting like 6 under or 7 under on the final round.
Yeah, just I don't know. It's kind of like what you said. I like seeing guys make birdies, but in that capacity. I mean, Michael Kim broke that scoring record for that tournament at like 26 under maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and then it got broken this time. And also you had like 20 guys or 16 guys at minus 20 or better or whatever it was.
Yeah, I mean, Denny was minus 21, 7 under final round, and he finished T7.
That's not okay.
That's too much.
Yeah,
that's too much for me. So looking forward to a more competitive type scoreboard this week. Which would be good.
I mean, that's a good transition into the Genesis Scottish Open. Renaissance Club in Scotland. They are overseas this week. So the tournament will start around 3 a.m. our time. We're Eastern Standard Time. I think they tee up, like the first tee time is maybe 2 or 3 a.m. tomorrow.
You gonna be up?
Yeah, I'm gonna hit the alarm, and I'm gonna make sure I see. God, who are the first tee? There's a couple of like just nobody's.
This is gonna suck, by the way. When at 1 o'clock in the morning somebody WDs and we don't know it because we're asleep, like everybody else in the United States.
That's exactly why I will not be betting Hideki Matsuyama this week. So I hope you have no Decky, because WD
it could be anybody.
Incoming.
I mean,
true.
Yeah, Hideki is a likely person to do that, but could be anybody. And yeah, that would suck. I hope that I didn't just speak that into existence.
Well,
I can see it happening.
That's a reminder to everyone. Check if you're up around noon or 1 o'clock, check Twitter, check whatever to see if any guys WD right before lock.
Yeah. One thing I do that I would recommend you guys do is I follow PGA Tour Communications on X, and go ahead and hit the bell and get their notifications. They're pretty good about only tweeting about specific stuff to the tournament. They don't like blow it up and post a bunch of crap. Like if somebody WDs, they're pretty much the first person to be on it. So I would recommend doing that. And maybe it'll wake you up. Maybe at 1 o'clock in the morning, a little ding or something. Maybe it'll get you up.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's jump into the picks for this week. Like I said, last week we had, I mean, essentially you end up going 3 for 8, which doesn't seem great. But again, 2 of those are first round leaders. So you can kind of just throw those out once the first round is over. And then
we've explained, those are dart throws. Those are something to cheer for on Thursdays at big numbers. I don't know. It's guys that like I use on DraftKings too. So actually if they have a good day, but they don't get the first round leader, that's really not the worst thing in the world, because I've probably got them on DraftKings. And so they're off to a good start for the week. So,
all right, well, let's get into the picks. We'll start with first round leader as always. And who do you have this week?
All right, so for this week, I'm going back to my guy.
Oh, God.
Denny McCarthy.
What?
Denny McCarthy. I had him top 20 last week, and he came through. And he obviously won me a little bit of money, finishing inside the top 10 on the final round. But Denny McCarthy, as we know, is one of the best putters in the world. And last week at the John Deere in round 4, where he shot 7 under, he was actually a 0 putter, meaning he didn't gain anything on the field putting. It was all with his irons and around the green. Anytime I can get Denny McCarthy gaining with irons, he gained 1.56 on approach in round 4. Anytime I can get anything with the irons, he has the potential to go off. He's also greater on the greens, just in general. In this course, the 2 stats for me this week are going to be driving distance, which helps, which Denny's kind of, he's in the middle basically, and around the green. And then spike. For round 1, I want spike potential. I want can he gain 4 shots in a round, 5 shots in a round, whatever, putting. Denny McCarthy can obviously do that. So Denny McCarthy is my guy. Great around the greens. He was number 11 in strokes gained tee to green at the John Deere Classic for the week. That was an average. And he's my guy. 80-1 on Denny McCarthy, by the way. That's a pretty big number for a guy that has 1 round potential.
Yeah, that is not at all what I was expecting to come out of your mouth.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Even I didn't kind of expect it. Like, I go look at stats. I honestly like to look at round 4 the week before to see if they found something late or to see what they did. And when I saw Denny McCarthy jump out with the approach game and to not gain anything putting, I thought if we can match up some putting with some irons, this could have even been better than 7 under.
Well, and that kind of, so typically, I've seen you look at guys that do have a spike round with the putter, maybe in round 4 or whatever. But the fact that he's gained with the irons or around the green, whatever you said, that is more in line with what I'm doing this week, because I don't care about putting at all this week. So when you first said Denny McCarthy and, being a great putter, I was expecting it to be like, okay, do you like good putters this week?
No, I don't. Like, putting this week is not going to be a huge key stat for me. But for round 1 leader, I always look for spike putting potential. And Denny McCarthy is one of those guys in my bucket that has a spike putting potential, So that's the reason I'm going to him this week.
All right. I'm going to pick somebody that have you picked any first round leader this season so far? Probably not, right?
I don't think so. It's a lot of Poston, Akshay, Mav, Im. Yeah, I don't think I've gone to Denny. Maybe if I have, it was only probably once, but I don't think I have.
Well, I'm going back to my guy, Corey Connors, 60-1.
You've definitely bet him.
I bet him at the RBC Canadian Open as first round leader. He did not get the first round, but did cash a top 5 after round 1 ticket for me. So why not? You're talking about spike putting. Corey Connors is a terrible putter. That's just what he is. We've seen it time and time again. He did show us spike potential, as you referred to, at the Canadian Open, where he gained 1.73 strokes putting across the tournament. I don't know how that varied round to round, but I assume he had a big one in there somewhere. And I would assume it's early because I think he kind of fell down the leaderboard. Corey Connors is an expensive DraftKings pick this week, so I think he may also go a little bit overlooked there just because he's priced up and people may not be thinking about him. Things that I'm looking for this week, I kind of went back and looked at some of the first round leaders at this tournament. Last year, I think Ben On, or was that might have been, no, I think it was Ben On last year, shot a 61 or something stupid. Rory also played well. So these guys that are long off the tee, so I'm glad you brought up driving distance. Connors is longer than you think. I think over the last couple of rounds, he's actually lost a little bit of distance compared to his overall season average, but his driving distance is above tour average. The other thing that I'm looking at is approach from certain numbers. Like 100 to 125 or 125. If you're hitting it longer, obviously you're going to be closer on these approach shots. But he's also pretty good at the 200 plus. I don't know if that has changed over the last 12 rounds or so, but from a season standpoint, 200 plus, you're going to have a couple par threes from that number. So Corey Connors, again, we've seen a recent spike in putting as far as the ability to do that. So at 60-1, some of the stats that lined up, I ran a custom model myself with certain approach yardages and less putting stuff, but the distance is what really kind of stuck out to me. Is that I wasn't expecting him to be, if anything, I would have expected him to be below tour average for the driving distance. So
yeah, he's in the top, looking at it, he's in the top like third, I'd say, in driving distance last 24 rounds. He's actually a zero putter, so he's actually not even a bad putter really.
He must be picking up some, in some of his recent performances.
Yeah, I mean, great history or great recent performances: 13th, 26th, 6th, 20th, 9th, 27th. Playing good golf. I'm sure that's why his price is up the way it is. Gaining a shot per round on approach is fantastic. Yeah, I could see it. Corey, he's your guy. I mean, Corey Conners is your guy. You've picked him
a couple times.
You've picked him several times.
Yeah, and honestly, he hasn't really let me down.
No, he's like I just rattled off his numbers there recently. He's been good.
He's gonna be a staple play for me in DraftKings this week as well. So just I don't know what his projected ownership looks like right now. Being that he is priced, he's priced up above some guys. So
yeah, I don't know what his ownership will be either. I don't have projected ownership quite yet, but yeah, he's right there around. He's 8,900. He's right there around Minwoo, Fitzpatrick, Justin Thomas, Brian Harmon, Sung Jae. Yeah, I'll be curious to see.
People are gonna play Minwoo. People are gonna play Harmon more than likely.
I'll be curious to see. I don't know. I think he's going to be average, honestly. His recent success it won't go unnoticed by people. So he probably he'll be like average owned. He'll be like
13.
I was going to say 13. I think he'll be 13% owned somewhere in there. Last 2 years, 61st and 19th for him. So
the important thing there in those finishes, if you look, he gained putting in both of his starts at this tournament. So
interesting.
I assume that he likes the type of putting that takes place overseas there. Typically you see slower greens at the Scottish, and I think that must be something that he prefers is a slower
maybe there's something there.
So Corey Conners 60-1. You could probably shop that number if you wanted to, but I was looking at DraftKings and that's what it is there. So
all right.
Let's jump into favorite play.
All right, so my favorite play this week is a guy that I'm really excited about. It is Ludwig Aubert.
Wow.
10,500 on DraftKings, 17-1. He's one of the bets that I've actually placed this week on 365. Use the boost, basically $30 for 700. Yeah, Ludwig is quietly been good. Like, I think that the sentiment on him is he's been like kind of but he's been pretty good. His last couple results here, 5th, 12th, 27th. He played in this tournament last year, missed the cut. I don't care. I actually think that's going to keep his ownership down a little bit. The fact that he is squeezed between Rory, Xander, Colin, Fleetwood. Like, I think he's going to be the lowest owned guy in this range, which I think is awesome. I love that. Also at the Travelers in the fourth round, which was his last tournament he played, he lost a ton putting, and he's not that bad of a putter.
He was my favorite play at the Travelers, so yeah. I'm well aware of what happened to him.
Round 4, he gained 1.28 on approach. He lost around the greens and he lost putting, which tells me that he just got in some awful spots and was just kind of unlucky, honestly. Bad putting rounds happen, but for a guy that is this good, I think this is a great sneaky spot for Ludwig. So yeah, he is my favorite play this week. Gonna have a dangerously high amount of him on DraftKings, and we'll see what happens.
So I was building a DraftKings team earlier, and I picked Ludwig on as the start of one of them because he was nowhere on my radar. I had picked a couple guys, the 7K, 8K, whatever, and I was like, okay, I need somebody at the top. Like, who's going to be that guy? And I hadn't once, I start thinking about these golf tournaments when the tournament on Sunday ends. Like, I'm like thinking about how this week is going to go.
Yeah.
And Ludwig never once crossed my mind. So I'm like, okay, if you look at what he's actually done, if you look at the finishes he's had, there's no reason to not pick him. I mean, he's obviously
he's had basically two top 10s in hard tournaments, like 5th and 12th. And then at the Travelers, he finished 27th, but his putting was terrible, which is a random thing for him. He's a gainer. I'm looking at last 24 rounds. So including his bad 4 rounds at the Travelers, he's still gaining 0.28 per round putting. He's a good putter.
Yeah.
He just had a bad week and specifically a bad day on the greens. Yeah, I think his ownership in this range, he is going to be the least owned. Like Rory's going to be owned, Xander's going to be owned, Colin is probably going to be the most owned, and Fleetwood also might be the most owned. Like he's going to be hell owned too. So then Victor, people probably won't pick as much Victor, but I think Aubert and Victor will probably be comparable in percentages. But yeah, I think that it's a great contrarian play this week for a guy that has a ton of upside and a course that should fit him pretty well too.
You think Victor won't be that owned, you said?
I don't think he'll be as owned as the other guys in that range. Like I don't think Victor and Tommy's ownership will be comparable.
Well, that's fantastic because my favorite play this week is Victor Hovland. Victor Hovland, 22-1 right now on DraftKings if you want it. That actually has been that's gone up since I think it opened at like 18 or 16 or something. He's 9,700 on DK. I think it's a fantastic point. He's kind of in a spot where you may not see ownership or as much ownership as you will on some of these other guys. Same sort of situation for Victor. I mean, historically, yes, around the green is a big problem for him. Victor is just one of those guys, though. I just feel like he's gonna grind until he figures something out. And I think when you take somebody who struggles around the greens and put them in a place that the greens are going to be slower, obviously that's just a fact. We've seen it here time and time again. You can get in less trouble if the greens are slower, if you're around the greens. Like that is going to be something that if he's got to get up and down, he's not going to see these massive rollouts like he has in some of these other tournaments that he struggled in. So I think that's going to only help him. His off the tee stuff has been pretty solid. I don't know. I know his approach, it was trending down for a little bit. I think it's on the way back up.
It was almost zero at the Travelers, which is, not ideal for him, but it's not awful.
Right.
He's still gaining last 24 rounds, 0.65 shots per round. It's really the around the green for him. Is it going to be a disaster or can he be neutral or what? I don't know.
I think he'll be fine. So, and again, I think as far as the talent level for the number, 22, he's a better golfer than that. And it's not the best number in the world if he was anything in the 30s or anything like that. Like Fleetwood's at 35. Well, that's first round. What's Fleetwood's actual odds? Fleetwood's at 20. And Victor's 22.
I think he's been bet down too. Like I said, Tommy's going to be popular this week. Anytime we get outside the United States, people flock to him because honestly, his track record,
he's never won.
Yeah, his track record would tell you he's better when he's not in the United States. But yeah, I don't think Victor's going to be very owned. I think he'll be 10. 10 would be my guess.
If he's sub 10%, then
he'll be 10. Aubert will be like 15, 13, something like that. Well, because I think Rory, Xander, and Colin and Fleetwood are going to be all, if not in the 20s or above, they'll be really close to it.
Yeah. Well, again, I think Victor is equivalent at the very least to some of these other guys that are around him at that number, and then especially on DK as well. So we'll see what happens. It's going to come down to, I don't even know if it is going to come down to the around the green. If he, that's why
it's going to come down to him managing the around the green.
Right. That's why, you're going to miss greens, but like if you, some of these guys, especially at that talent level, they'll catch fire and he'll see the around the green stuff far less than maybe somebody else will. So
if you can throw away his US Open performance and get past the around the green stuff, the rest of his game and his results are fantastic. 24th Wells Fargo, third of the PGA Championship, 15th Memorial, and 20th at the Travelers. And at the Travelers, he didn't even play that well. He just kind of managed.
Like, all of this is without his best stuff. And we know what his best stuff looks like. If we happen to catch that early, I think we'd be in.
And I think I like him more as a DraftKings than a bet. But yes, there is huge upside here. And if he can figure out the around the green and have a good iron week like he's plenty capable of doing, I could see it.
All right, top 20. Let's see if we can get some. These are the ones that really matter. These top 20, top 40s.
For me, these are like DraftKings builders. But
right,
like,
exactly.
Like you got to have the guy in the meteor lineup contend. And that guy for me this week is Justin Thomas. 8,800 on DraftKings. That's too cheap for a guy that is quietly trending. You have him obviously. So
Justin Thomas, top 20 plus 180 right
Plus
here,
180,
ladies and gentlemen. Read it and weep.
he was 9th on approach of the Travelers for the tournament, his average. And he's also been really good around the greens, which I think is an important stat for me this week, gaining 0.63 around the green his last 24 rounds. It's just been the putter for him, which obviously can come and go. 5th at the Travelers, missed the cut at the U.S. Open, 33rd Memorial, 8th at the PGA, 21st to Wells Fargo. He's been pretty good. He's been right there. I think his price here for DraftKings is too low. I don't think he should be this low. I can fully see, and this is just like me thinking in the future, but I can fully see him like either winning this golf tournament or top 10ing or something and getting some momentum and then going to the Open and like missing the cut. That would be a
Whoa.
Justin Thomas thing to do. But for now, I'm going to focus on this week.
I was expecting to go the other way with that. Like,
no, I think that Justin Thomas is like, he's like Spieth, but he's better in that he can like spike and then just absolutely disappear. Where Spieth does it like through like round by round. Justin Thomas kind of does it like week by week. Sometimes.
So what you're saying based on that logic is if he misses the cut this week,
then he'll do
bet
good
him next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've been early on guys, so maybe that'll happen. But Justin Thomas, he's too cheap and he's trending. And the driving distance, by the way, he's one of the best in this field. He rips it.
Mm-hmm.
So he's my guy. Obviously, you agree.
So here's the thing: we've been doing this a lot now. We've had the same person, but we've never had the same person in the same place. This is the first time we've ever picked somebody. Yep, that is in the same category. You've picked a guy that's first round that I had top 20 or whatever. We have never picked.
I know we both picked Bryson at the Masters.
Right, that he was my first round leader and he was your
maybe my favorite
play.
Maybe my favorite. Well, either favorite or top 20.
Yeah. So he was your top 20 actually.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this has the possibility to be something fantastic here.
Hammer
And
play.
I think
Hammer it.
I think I was gonna have a decent amount of him. I think I'm gonna just have to do
load
it a
up.
lot.
100% Justin Thomas and 100% Aubert.
Well,
Let's go.
I'm not as in on Aubert as you are. I do like him, but I noticed that his track record putting on slower surfaces is not something to write home about. So
Who, Aubert?
yeah, I don't know if there's anything to that. There's obviously I feel like
We got to ruin it, man.
It's weird because you hear the stat like putting on slow surfaces. That just doesn't feel like it's.
You know what?
Super
Victor
sticky.
Hovland's a shit pick, by the way. His around the green numbers suck. You're an idiot. Victor Hovland? Have you seen his around the green numbers?
Man, I'm not saying. I just told you I picked Aubert in one of my lineups, but that was solely based on
That's a good pick.
having none of him or him not even crossing my mind when he has done that quite a bit in recent weeks. So, well, obviously I don't need to talk about my top 20 because it's the same as yours.
Well, it's a hammer play. I mean, it really is.
Yeah,
Justin Thomas.
I'm all aboard. So
8,800. Who would you rather pick, Justin Thomas or Brian Harman? He's right there in that same range.
I'd rather pick Justin.
And Corey Connors.
I'd rather pick.
Who you picking? Who you get down to your lineup and you've got the last guy to pick and you've got the money for Connors or Thomas. Who you picking?
I'm picking Connors.
Wrong. Stupid.
But that's just because I'll probably have.
Because you're an idiot. That's why.
that too. But I will say this: my top 20 pick when I was kind of narrowing down, I was looking at Wyndham Clark, as one of the guys because I feel like there's some stats. Obviously, he hits the shit out of the ball. You're not as in trouble if you're airing off the tee here. And maybe the Olympics thing I was going to play as like a narrative, but something just felt right about Thomas. Seeing him right there in that number, from DraftKings and from the plus money side of a top 20, I just felt like it was too good to pass up. So, yeah, I think we hammered the shit out of that one. And then
Well, speaking of being errant off the tee, but it not mattering as much, my top 40 pick is going to be Max Homa.
Oh,
Minus 125 on DraftKings top 40. That's been really his struggle. The putting has been not great too, but his main struggle has been off the tee, which is shocking because if you look back a little bit, not that long ago, he was a great off the tee player, and he's kind of lost it. But at the Travelers, I believe it was, we saw a little bit of life with the game in general. Maybe not so much the off the tee. The off the tee was still kind of but the game in general was coming back. We were gaining on approach. I think it was specifically round 4. Let me pull up round 4 real quick. I'm a big round 4 guy if you haven't picked up that.
Just
Max
round
Homa,
4 stats only.
Max Homa on approach in round 4 of the Travelers, which was his last event, he gained 2.34 on approach. That's a massive number. I believe that was number 2 that day, behind your boy Wyndham Clark. Max Homa 7,700 on DraftKings, I believe, is too cheap for a guy with the upside that he has. Not that long ago, we were talking about how we think Max Homa can win a major. If we think that Max Homa can win a major, why the hell can't he win the damn Scottish Open? Tell me, why can't he?
You're right. So here's what I'll say. Max Homa has like a very specific course type that I feel like he can have success on, and this is it. The concern is, like you just mentioned,
16th and 12th last 2 years here.
The concern is that historically he's been a great off the tee player. Now, what happens if he starts putting? It's harder to get in trouble out here, but that's not to say it's impossible. What happens to Max if he is left or right off the tee and then he finds himself in weird spots? We just saw him crying on the course at the Travelers. Look, mental health.
I think some time off. I think some time off for this guy is going to be a big deal. Like he's now taking a couple weeks off in a row. That's really going to help him, I feel like. And he's going to a place where he's had success. That's obviously a huge deal for these guys, coming back to a place that feels good to them. Obviously, look at Jordan Spieth from the clouds shooting a damn good round at the John Deere, being up and down like I knew he would be.
Yeah.
But he probably outperformed what he should have been. Like we watched him play on Thursday. I watched most of his round, and he was awful. He was terrible. And he still finished T26, and he clearly doesn't have his game going right now at all. And he still finished T26. So going to a course that suits you. Max Homa, pretty good around the greens, by the way, 0.35 gaining around the greens last 24 rounds. Distance is fine. It's, top third or so. Approach is still good, gaining 0.4 per round on approach. Yeah, I think that a little bit of time off for this guy. We're getting a discount, maybe even a discount on ownership this week too. The upside's too high for me, so I think Max Homa is a good play this week.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
At the end of the day, when you come down to this range, you could spend $3,000 more and get Jordan Spieth.
What's his price?
7,700.
Oh yeah, I mean,
he's what the people around him are: Spieth, Davis Thompson, Robert McIntyre, Ben On, Sepp Straka. Like,
yeah, no, that's
upside wise for me. I'm all in on Homa right there.
Yeah, no, he's of those names. Obviously, I think he's got the most upside,
and probably the best course fit. So that's just me. Max Homa's my guy, I believe. Yeah.
I don't even know. Just continue from that. All right. I'm glad you didn't yell at him at the U.S. Open.
Yeah, he'd have been like, what a drunk idiot over there.
Yeah. My top 40 is going to be Keith Mitchell, minus 105.
Killer Keith,
Cashmere Keith, whatever you want to call him. $7,300 on DraftKings.
Can't putt Keith.
Cannot putt. I'm back in. There's been a couple times now where I'm team no putt, and it didn't change this week.
That's fine. I'm usually team no putt. Except for when it comes to round 1. But yeah, he can stripe it.
His like approach off the tee, like his stats minus putting are they're top of the whatever you want.
And he's got I call him Killer Keith, but he has no killer instinct. I'll say that. That dude, when he gets a little bit tight, his putting and his chipping just is so bad.
Well, whoa.
It's so bad. It's as bad as that voice right there. But
We're falling apart over
if
here.
Keith, bro, think about this. If Keith Mitchell and Denny McCarthy were combined,
Oh my God.
dude, they'd be insane.
Yeah, you'd have somebody like a Rory up there just
You
competing.
really
every
would.
week.
Like stats wise, they'd be
That would be
even
Scotty.
better.
That'd be just under Scotty. That'd be the
That'd be-
love child of Killer Keith, no Killer Keith Mitchell, and Denny McCarthy.
ooh, that's the thing though. They still wouldn't have a killer instinct.
True.
Because Denny doesn't really
Denny's
I
Denny.
wouldn't say is the killer instinct either.
Well, we saw that at the Valero when he chunked his wedge into the water. Yeah.
So they'd be a really good golfer that would choke. Who's a really good golfer that chokes all the time?
Rory.
Yeah, so I guess it would be Rory. Danny McCarthy.
Damn, too soon, man.
And Keith
The
Mitchell.
guy disappears, leaves, and goes
We'll get to that. We'll get to
Yeah.
him and all that. So yeah, go ahead with your terrible pick. Go ahead.
kill Keith Mitchell. I've actually seen a lot of people on Keith Mitchell this week, which
It's a
is
good price. I mean,
Yeah.
7,300 this
well,
week.
the stats line up for me, and it's again, you're looking at driving distance, you're looking at approach from certain areas, and if you truly believe that bad putters can get better on slow surfaces or just a change of surfaces, so especially a drastic one like this, then whatever, we'll see what happens. But you hated on my Andrew Novak pick, top 40 last week, and the guy finished tied for fifth.
I don't know if I hated on it. I hate on it. I don't think I hated on it. I had him on like one or two DraftKings lineups, so I didn't hate it.
Well, whatever.
I remember saying that Andrew Novak is. You want to talk about really a no name?
Oh, that's what you said. You couldn't pick Andrew Novak out of.
Yeah, I didn't
That's what it
hate
was.
the pick looking at his stats and everything, but
Gotcha.
yeah, as far
That's
as
true.
like
that's
who the
less-
hell is Andrew Novak? I mean, that's valid. Like,
Can you pick him out of a lineup now?
no, absolutely
You
not.
saw no footage of Andrew Novak.
Dude, maybe I actually didn't see like too much of the golf tournament. I saw some Thursday, but beyond that, I really didn't see that
He
much
looks-
of it with
he looks
4th of July stuff.
Similar-ish to Sepp Straka from behind, if that tells you anything.
Whoa, dude. You looking at Sepp Straka from behind?
I'm just saying, he's sort of a big boy.
You're Googling boys on tractors, and now you're talking about Sepp Straka from behind, dude?
the thumbnail for this week is going to be not Andrew Novak, Killer Keith on a Scottish lady.
Scottish.
Can you picture Keith Mitchell riding a Scottish woman?
Dude, what? Holy shit. Dude, no.
Isn't that the prize for this?
You know what this is going to turn into is the thumbnail. Whoever's on the thumbnail, that's going to be like the kiss of death. Like Daniel Berger.
Oh shit! Yeah, I didn't
bogey
think
and
about that.
back-to-back holes to miss the cut by one.
Well, I put him on there because I liked him too, but yeah, no, that's
Could be
So who do we want to miss the cut this week?
Colin.
Good, because I got no Colin, and I don't.
I think he's gonna be I think he's gonna be the most owned guy this week.
The problem is he's been playing so damn good, but
Exactly, he's gonna be the most owned guy.
I don't know.
We can get into that, but like top of the board here, Rory, Xander. Who you picking between Rory and Xander? They're priced very similarly, both 11,000 upper 11,000. You got 11,900, 11,700. Both playing fantastic. Obviously, we got Rory coming off the job where I lost money on that. Thanks, Rory. I had him as a winner that week, so appreciate that.
Rory or Xander?
Or Xander, who's been just solid. They've both been really solid. You look at the results; it's insane.
So you got Xander, who's won a major this year.
Do you guess what their highest finish in their last 5 events? The highest finish between both of them. Their worst finish.
Oh,
Yeah, their worst.
12th.
15th. Rory at the Memorial. That's insane. First, second, 12th, first, 4th, 15th, 18th, second, 7th, 13th.
What's
Like, that's crazy.
Didn't Rory win last year and Xander won the year before?
Yep. Yeah, I actually remember this tournament last year. Rory and McIntyre were going at it. I don't know.
Oh, that's right. That was kind of the
Yeah, it was like crazy windy. Everybody was cheering for McIntyre. He had a hot round in his final round, and then Rory hit some like
Didn't they put a fucking plaque on the course?
he hit.
It was
Yeah.
it was a 2-iron or
He
3-iron.
hit a two. I think it was a 2-iron. He hit a 2-iron like crazy wind into the hole, like
To like 5 feet.
just like a money, like perfect shot. It was just like
Yeah, there's a
it was a
plaque.
really
There's a
cool-
plaque on the course from where he hit that shot. Which
it was a
is
really
so
cool moment. I
stupid if you think
remember.
about it.
I remember that being a thing. But yeah, that's I don't know. So who you going here between these two, or neither?
I'd go neither.
Okay, I think I'm gonna go neither as well, which could be a dangerous game. But
It is, but I think
you gotta make a stand somewhere up there
I
at the
think
top.
those two, as much as if you put a gun to my head, I'd say Rory, because he's coming off of the absolute choke. Like, he needs to show something, some sign that he's doesn't fold like a fucking omelet in the next opportunity.
Do you
he
think
gets.
that him having to answer a ton of questions this week about it is a good thing or a bad thing?
Both?
I could see it being like a bad thing.
I could see it being a good thing or a bad thing. It depends on what his actual mental state is.
I feel like it's not going to take much early on in the tournament that if things aren't going great, I could see him starting to think about it and just melt down.
Okay. Yeah, no, I could see that too. So
I
if
feel like the pressure is higher than it, like, you can't imagine this guy had much pressure going in this tournament last year.
yeah.
Like, nobody probably cared. It's just like, yeah, Rory's showing up. He's one of the best in the world. Let's see what he can do. There was no like big storyline, I don't feel like. But this year, the times are a changing.
Yeah. So what's the next tier?
Next tier is Aubert, Morikawa. We'll say Aubert, Morikawa, Fleetwood, Hovland.
I'm taking Hovland.
I'm obviously going with Aubert. I think Morikawa will be the highest owned golfer in this field. Would not be shocked to see him.
Missed the cut.
No, I could see him winning this golf tournament, but I'm not going to go to him if I think he's going to be 25 or higher % owned. So yeah, I won't be going there.
It's
based
funny.
on that. It's not even like anything stats wise. It's not anything like this dude's playing great golf. But for me, I ain't doing it. Not at that ownership. What do you think about his ownership? You think he'd be the highest owned?
I think we don't hold that same, stigma to Scotty when he's 30-40%. And
Scotty's a whole different
it's a whole
ballgame.
different story.
Because Scotty wins. Colin Morikawa has been great, but he hasn't won.
Yeah.
16th, 4th, 2nd, 14th, 13th. He's been great. He ain't won. Could he win here?
Has
Sure.
What you said? How many seconds is there? Just one.
Just one.
That was to Scotty.
2 force. He's
Kind
been
of choke jobs on
He's
those.
been really good. He's
Yeah.
been right there. Is he gonna win at some point? Probably, if he keeps playing like this. But I'll fade him purely based on I think he's gonna be the highest known golfer in this field. If not Fleetwood, who's right below him, who's also been playing really good, but to kind of a different levels. There's levels to this sheet. And and Colin's been like top 10 level. Fleetwood's been like top 20 level.
Yeah.
13th, 26th, 21st, 20th, 16th, 15th. Also good course history for Tommy. 4th and 6th, his 2 trips here. He's going to be popular as well.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna skip over most of those guys. Hang on to Victor and see what happens. Because I think the ownership is going to be right there.
We're both being very contrarian here at the top. That's for sure. That could
Yeah.
either be really good
One
or
of us will have a good week.
Well,
or both
could
have a terrible
both,
week.
We could both be bad.
Yeah.
If our guys don't perform at the top, one of those other guys is going to be there, if not win. So, going to be tricky.
Who are we looking at? So this field is flooded with like DP World Tour guys, and is there any names in that collection or that pool of players that you're looking at? Because there is one that I'm looking at, and there's probably a couple more that should be looked at.
Go ahead. I'll look. I don't have one off the top of my head, but you go ahead.
So I was looking at, and I've already got a bet. I did a little top 40 parlay
Okay.
with a couple guys from this tournament and a couple guys from the ISCO championship. That's going to be the alternate event in Kentucky this week. And one of the guys that I picked from this tournament is Guido Migliozzi.
It's a great name.
The reason I picked him is because I did recognize the name when I saw it.
It's hard to forget.
Yeah, and I think it was either this tournament or I don't know where it was, but I just remember watching this dude play, and he played fantastic. If you go look at, if you have access to this, his recent finishes on the DP World Tour, he just won a tournament and has like a couple, maybe a top 10 or a top 20, right around that as well. The last European event he played, I think, was the BMW or maybe the European something, and he missed the cut, but I think that was right after the win. So,
yeah, I don't have these specific tournaments, but I have the order basically. He missed the cut, then he finished 22nd, then he won 8th, 24th, 2nd, miscut. So he had a
so you're working
there.
from right to left there. So he's got one miscut in his last 4 or 5 starts.
Yeah, one miscut
and a win
in his
and
last
second
and
and
his
a top
last
10.
6 starts.
Yeah. So
and 3 top 10s and a first and a second.
Yeah. I mean, I recognize the name. I was looking for kind of a filler spot for this tournament, somebody at plus money. He is plus 150 to top 40 in this, so just felt like he was worth a dart throw.
Yeah, I don't have I really don't have one for you. I do have one dart throw that is like truly from the clouds. But I think he's a really good price. He's 5,300. So if you had to go way down here
5,300
and pick somebody that nobody's going to pick,
Mackenzie Hughes.
It's Dylan Fratelli.
I like, so weird because I was looking at round 4 stuff from John Deere, and he gained, like,
that's what I noticed.
He clearly found something. I thought about him for a first round leader, not for the show, because that name would just make people be like,
yeah, and I'm not like, listen, this is a dart throw. I'm very aware of that, but gained 2.6 on approach in round 4 of the John Deere and lost 2 putting and shot 4 under. That was number 2 that day behind Thor Bjornsson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, might have found a little something there.
So every week I do a top 10 after round 1, and I was strongly considering him for this week.
He's not playing that bad either. Like he's not a great golfer, but we're making some cuts here. Last 5 events, 20th, 29th, missed cut, 33rd, 52nd. Good around the green player, gaining about a half a shot per round around the green. Distance wise, averaging 304 off the tee. That puts him in the top quarter of this field. Yeah, if you want to go like double stack at the top as far as the DraftKings lineup, go Bear, Xander, or whatever the hell you want to do up there. You're going to have to pick somebody down there. I wouldn't mind it.
He's pretty active on social media. I'm curious. Yeah, he's like,
Oh, that's right. He did go, but that was when he was more relevant. I was probably more aware of it.
Even now he'll be like commenting on like PGA stuff. Like every time like a golf page posts something, I see Dylan Fratelli's name, like as a response, commenting about it, and everybody's roasting him in the comments. But yeah, I did see the round 4 stuff, and I was like, that's interesting. Yep. That is the exact thing that I look for when I'm picking a first round leader. Is like, who spiked in round 4 of the last tournament, and how did they do it? It's like, holy shit, this guy gained almost 3 strokes.
I mean, that's like, like you're saying, like that's something we kind of look for. We're looking for some approach who maybe didn't putt well, who still shot a good number. This is the exact profile that, take the names away, and me and you both would have said, who's that?
Yeah.
Because it jumps out to you. So yeah, as far as a dart throw down there at the bottom of the board, I don't mind. I've actually bet him, if I'm being completely honest, to win this golf tournament. It is $5.
You bet him to win?
Dude, $5. $5 to win $4,750.
Okay, I mean,
that could be the best $5 I've ever spent. So I guess
if this motherfucker wins this tournament,
yeah, dude. But I'll go ahead and tell you I've made a couple bets. Aubert to win, Fratelli $5 to win. I also did bet $5 on McCarthy to win. And then round 1, I did obviously McCarthy at 80, and then I did Aubert. So that's the only bets I have in at the time, or for now. But yeah, that's what I got.
What do we think about Zalatoris? Is he hurt?
I think it's a wait and see.
What if we are waiting and we're gonna see by him winning?
I just can't get there, dude. You look at this guy's profile right now, and it is red. Like there is not much to love here. I mean, he's losing across the board. We're not gaining anywhere. We're well, I guess we're 0 off the tee last 24 rounds. We're losing a little bit on approach. We're losing even more around the greens, and we're losing even more than that putting. Last several results: miscut 42nd, miscut 41st, 43rd, 60th, miscut. He didn't play here last year. He played here the year before. Miscut. I just don't. I can't do it. I can't do it. He is a big upside guy.
Nobody's gonna pick him.
But I can't do it. Ooh, I just got ownership. It just refreshed and I got ownership projections.
All right. That's pretty fortunate.
Yeah. Rory is actually projected to be the highest owned. Rory, then Xander, then Colin.
Rory's, yeah, I mean, I guess I could have seen that.
Then Aaron Rye.
I could also see that coming. That guy's been a machine.
Yeah.
Hasn't won anything, but he did win here. He beat Fleetwood 4 years ago.
Yeah, he did win here. Playing good golf. He was actually John Deere. I think he started to fall off a little bit. He had been striping it.
You know, his putter got hot, but everything else kind of fell apart.
Yeah, I think his numbers at the John Deere were like, wait a second, I'm starting to see some fading going on here. Again, he could pick it right back up, but I want to say it was all putting. Yeah, all of a sudden it was like all putting. He gained about half a shot on approach, but he had been gaining multiple shots on approach. He was a 0 off the tee. He had been gaining off the tee as well. 0 around the green, but yeah, he gained putting. I think he might have been.
So let's say
he might have been the best putter actually at the John Deere and still didn't win. Yes, he was. He gained the most shots putting on average at the John Deere and still finished T7.
So the fade of the week is Aaron Rye.
That's a dangerous fade.
That's really not that dangerous. Look, you're talking about a guy who's, yes, he's been in the mix a couple times, but he hasn't closed it out. And now you're going to tell me that his actual mechanics are showing some signs of wear and tear by losing on approach, losing off the tee.
You know what? Screw it. I'm in. Fade of the week.
Aaron Rye.
Fade of the week, Aaron Rye. I'm not going to pick any of him on DraftKings. If he's going to be, I'm looking at.
Isn't he like 10,300 on DraftKings? Isn't he so expensive?
No, he's down there. 8,300.
Oh, okay. Wow.
He's down there with Theegala, Wyndham. I'm in on the fade. Screw it. Fade him. Last two events, top 10 both. Yeah, but the John Deere, the stats concern me a little bit. The fact that he was the highest gainer putting and still the best we could squeeze out was a top 10. I don't know. He's been a lot better than that recently with the irons, and I often will fade the guy anyways, no matter the name, who putted the best the week before.
Yeah, that's like.
You don't want to go back to the guy who just like
no, because
we talk
about it all the time, and this is sort of the reverse side of it. Like this is like normally we're like, okay, you had a bad putting week, that can change. Now you're talking about a guy who was the best putter in the tournament, and that's not his game. His game historically, he's been a bad putter, and everything else is pretty good. So that's not something you want to see. Like that's a negative. That's more of a negative thing for me when I see a guy spike with the putter that's a bad putter, but the rest of the stuff looks bad now, or looks worse than what it should be.
Yeah, that's an easy fade. I'm cool with it.
There was something else I was gonna. Oh well, I guess. So I'm gonna talk about matchups. We don't have to spend a ton of time on this, but picking these matchups, that is like one of the things I'll look for. So whoever's matched up with Aaron Rye, I will probably pick them in a round 1 matchup or whatever. So
wouldn't be surprised to see it be somewhere in his DraftKings range. Wouldn't be surprised if it was Sungjae or Theegala.
Well, it'll probably be based on tee times. So whoever he's paired with.
You got them running? I think we need to pick a lineup too. We did a lineup last week and I think it was 4 or 6. So you didn't win any money on that. But if you're not hot, you're due.
4-6 isn't terrible.
If you're not hot, you're due. Daniel Berger ruined it. So
that's true.
Well, actually, really, Maverick McNeely ruined it.
All right, listen to this.
Because what the hell?
What the fuck? All right, maybe not the matchup stuff because Aaron Rai is paired with, he's the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth tee time with Nico Echeverria. And Echeverria. And I don't have his full name. It just
you couldn't be an announcer. You couldn't do it.
Kuswa. Who the hell is Yu Kuswa?
Well,
He's French. He's French. Kuswa.
Yu Kuswa.
You're
Kuswa. Definitely butchering that name, whatever it is. Let's see if I can find it.
No, I don't know how to say it. Coussaud.
What's
Coussaud?
It could be Coussaud.
Do you pronounce the D there at the end?
His last name starts with a what?
A C.
What's his first name start with? What was it?
Hugo.
Starts with a U?
Yep. Not Hugo. Hugo.
Oh God.
Bad?
No, I'm just trying to think of how you say that name.
Yeah, I don't know.
It might be Ugo. Ugo Cossad.
The double S in French though is
Coussuade.
You go swa there, I'm pretty sure. Coussoid.
Ugo Coussois. It might be a silent D.
That's what I thought. That's what I said.
Ugo Coussois. I have no idea. It depends on where he's from.
He's French.
Yeah. Oh, he's French for sure? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably.
All right.
We're off the rails here.
Yeah. What were you
We need a lineup.
Oh, we need a lineup. All right, here we go.
You go first. You pick your.
I'm going to go. Let me open DraftKings. Let's put this in the.
This is the Bet Haven lineup of the week. Presented by
somebody.
Could be you.
Somebody help us.
It could be you. Throw us $10.
All right. I'm gonna put this in the PGA Tour 300K drive the green, 50,000 to first.
Oof, we wouldn't need a sponsor if we cashed out on 50K.
All right, just because it is what it is. First pick, Corey Connors.
Okay, I'm going with Aubert.
Good God, we have no money left.
There's some money.
Second pick. Can you pull up the projected ownership?
Yeah. Who you want?
So give me some more names. Go down the list
of guys that are highly owned.
Yeah, just run through those real quick.
Let me just sort it. Rory, Xander, Colin, Rye, Aubert, Tom Kim,
Fade,
Thompson, Matsuyama, Connors, Straka, Hovland, Homa, Fleetwood, Thomas. These are super early. Whoa, super early projections. So these could change for sure.
Dylan Fratelli.
Okay. Our guy.
$5,300, right?
Yeah. You're going for Telly, then I think we take him. I think we go Max Homa.
I was gonna say Max, but
oh man, puts us right in that range of.
Is it a bad range?
No, it's the range that we need.
8,800.
We need to. I mean, we probably should. We both have them.
Justin Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah, run it. God, that leaves such a weird number though.
Yeah, it does. Can we take maybe?
Honestly, I like where this is.
Fratelli?
I like where this is headed. Let's look at guys not Fratelli.
Do we take out Fratelli or no?
Yeah, pull Fratelli because I don't think we have to go down there.
You go Fratelli out. You put in. One of my projections really loved Kitayama.
Yeah, because
that was just a custom model.
Yeah, off the tee stuff for him.
Kitayama really popped 6-7. Let me pull his stuff real quick. Yeah, he's classic team no putt, and he finished second here in 2022.
I mean, I don't have a problem with that. If we're going team no putt,
let's see where it puts us.
67. There he is.
Okay, I mean, it's back to you. I'll let you pick it. All right, so we're taking out Fratelli, putting Kitayama, and then you pick the last one. You do it, and I'm not gonna get mad at whoever you pick. It's okay.
Killer Keith, baby. 7,300.
Just for you at home listening, that puts us at Noren McCarthy, Adam Scott, Keith Mitchell, Billy Horschel, Dietrich, that range. And Daniel's going against my Denny and going with Killer Keith. That's okay, though, because I took Kitayama, so that's all good. All right, so we got Aubert.
Denny also leaves you $0, and I just hate
That's
the way
fine.
that feels.
We got Aubert, Connors, Justin Thomas, Homa, Keith Mitchell, Kitayama. All right, I'm going to put that in something later.
I'm going to put that in the $5.
The big $5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nobody steal it, all right? I don't want to be splitting wins with anybody out there, all right? All 26 of you that will do this.
All of our
which
listeners.
is mostly me watching it 12 times
throughout the night.
Replay button, baby.
We've been slowly progressing our viewership.
Yeah.
I think we need to do.
They're gonna listen to this one though, and
we need to do some sort of giveaway or something. We need to pump the
I
numbers.
already
a
been
little bit.
thinking about that.
Have
Don't
you?
you worry.
Okay. Yeah, we need to do something.
Don't you worry.
Also, where are we at on Apple Music?
I don't know.
Come on, man.
I stopped trying, but
we got to get Apple Music going. Just if we're 100% in, we got to be 100% in.
All right, that's fair. All right, well, best of luck to everybody this week. Appreciate you tuning in. As always, again, don't forget to check out the link in the description of this video. Get a good look at all the deposit matches and bonus bets you can get across various sportsbook like DraftKings Sportsbook, FanDuel, all of those places. Don't forget also that you can bet on like FanDuel and all these places now, they do finishing positions, including ties. It's a reduced odds. So make sure you're shopping that around. BetMGM did used to kind of be the only one that offered all ties paid out in full. But now that you're kind of getting the ties in these other books, make sure you're shopping your top 20s, your top 30s, whatever, across those different books. But yeah, that's kind of an important thing I forgot to mention because I noticed that DraftKings does that now. FanDuel does that now. Bet365 does that now. It's like you can bet the same thing at a reduced payout to include the ties, which means if you bet somebody to finish top 20 and the number says T20 at the finish, you're going to get that paid out in full. So,
and remember to use your boost. If you got a boost on 365,
it should wherever, be a 30%. It'll probably be a 50% next week for the major, but
the boost.
All right, guys, we will see you next week. Good luck and adios.